I'm live, and you're live with me. We together are live. And oh, you know what? Let's do that thing with the thing where I get to go and reverse stuff. What the hell was that? Interact. Nope, that's not it. Shit. There was a thing where I could hit that. Flip camera. Mirror your video. There we go. Oh shit, that's not it. Okay, there. Boom. Got it. All right. Life is good. Got it. Donald Trump is Jesus Christ. Well, he seems to think so. Although, honestly, the thing is, when you're egged on by your friends or whoever to act a certain way, it can become a little too much. Like, people say, "Oh, well, it's just a game he's playing," and that could in fact be true, but maybe not. And that's the problem, is that maybe, just maybe, wait a minute, what the, oh, it goes that way to get, oh, wow. This does not have nearly the range of this, which is YouTube. YouTube's better, by the way. YouTube, 10 out of 10 smart people said YouTube's better. I'm not saying you guys aren't smart. I'm just saying you haven't tried it yet. And if you tried my live stream on YouTube, you'd be like, damn, this is better. Where is the Volkswagen band? You mean the Volkswagen van? I took it down. I don't want to give people the wrong idea about me. I don't want them to think I'm a hippie. I'm not a hippie. By the way, this is beautiful. This is a big chunk of pure copper from Michigan. Funny story about pure copper from Michigan. You can actually check the ingredients of copper from around the world and tell where it came from. Did it come from Arizona? Did it come from Michigan? Did it come from Peru? It all has its own fingerprint, its own mineral structure, which in a way are like fingerprints. Strangely enough, this copper only turns up in two places. It turns up raw in Michigan, but never refined. The American Indians, the natives, never refined it. But strangely enough, they did dig it up a lot. Well, there's only one other place that this turns up, this Michigan copper. And that is the Minoan Empire from 4,000 years ago. Explain that. Because there's only one possible way that it ended up on the other side of the Atlantic in the Mediterranean. One possible way. Somebody shipped it. Now, of course, you're going to say, well, wait a minute. Columbus was 500 years ago or so. Yeah, Columbus didn't discover shit. Even the Vikings went around 4,500 years ago. Let's see, when was the Minoan Empire at its peak? The Minoan civilization was at its peak 1700 to 1400 BCE. So 1700 years from now, 1700 years ago, BC would be about 3700. Okay, so like I said, initially 4,000, almost 4,000 years ago. Almost 4,000 years ago, That's a long time ago. That's a long, long time ago. So, of course, the question is, uh, who sold them that copper or traded with them? And what exactly did the Native Americans do with whatever they traded the Minoans for? And more importantly, the Minoan Empire was basically wiped out from a huge tsunami. Let's see. Yeah, the island of Crete was facing, unfortunately, a very large volcano, which, when it blew up, uh, kind of messed things up a bit for them. You see, Flint from Ohio in South America, that doesn't shock me because you can walk there. Now, it's still a hell of a trade route. It's still a long ways, but the idea that you would get copper all the way around to the other side of the world, almost as far BC as we are AD now. That's a long fucking time ago. That's a long time ago. Middle Minoa, beyond Crete. I'm trying to find the Lake Minoan. Ended with severe destructions throughout the island, marking the end of the Neopalatial Society. Okay. They're not really getting into damn. They're not getting into the earthquake that the volcano that probably wiped them out. It was having a little brain fart here. You know what? It's an island that everybody just got freaked out about because there were a bunch of earthquakes under it. Nothing really happened, but it definitely scared the crap out of a lot of people. Let's see. Okay, and it was severe destruction to the island. Deliberate. Ought to have been deliberate. What? That seems rather odd. Okay. Let's just jump over here. What volcano? That's not really going to help. What volcano caused the tsunami that destroyed the Minoans? Okay, and let's do that again. What is the volcano's name that destroyed the Minoan Empire? Fuck, Santorini. I can't believe I didn't remember that, but a massive eruption circa 1600 BCE. Wait, they're saying that the height of the empire was 1700 BCE to 1400, but a huge tsunami destroyed a good part of the Minoan Empire in 1600. Huh. Very strange. I'm not buying it. That doesn't sound right. The Minoan Empire was was around for quite a while. 100 years before it got whacked really hard by Santorini, the island of Thera. Okay, no, that doesn't make sense. The Minoan eruption. Yeah, the island of Thera really did kind of blow its top. If you want to know what that's like, well, it's funny you brought up Pompeii because if you want to know what Thera exploding and disappearing into the ocean looked like, just watch Central Italy right now because it absolutely amazes me that the Phlegraean fields, which is what they're called, um, it's a super volcano that sits right under Naples, and it has become extremely active. It's one of the most active volcanoes in the world. It's called Campi Flegrei. And how active is Campi Flegrei? Wow, I got the Camp Bay beach in Roatan, Honduras. It's a beautiful beach, by the way, just in case you're wondering. I wasn't, but there it is. How active is the volcano Campi Flegrei? Ah, there we go. Campi Flegrei, the Phlegraean Fields, is a highly active supervolcano near Naples. That's funny, they say near Naples. It's fucking under Naples. Naples is on top of it. Look on the map. It's like near it. What do you mean near? It is literally sitting on top of it. There are places in Naples where people have had to leave their homes because their homes are cracking. Literally, the walls are crumbling because the earth is moving up and down so rapidly. Yeah, luckily that Dickinson fjord tsunami was pretty much in the middle of nowhere because that's probably the largest tsunami ever recorded. Although it wasn't technically recorded, it was just after the fact we saw what it did. But man, yeah, when you say highly active, it makes you wonder because when you look at some of its eruptions in the past, man, what will happen if Camp Flegrei erupts? It would cause a catastrophic regional disaster and severe global climate disruption. A worst case event would require a massive evacuation of over 500,000 people from the red zone in 72 hours. Now, chew on that for just a second. 500,000 people leaving on what? 20, 30 different roads and highways? 500,000. Right now, the idea of living, and again, this is how it works. Well, it would definitely block some sunlight and it would definitely cause some real issues because the problem is that when you get that much, uh, when you get that much uh, uh, ash up in the atmosphere, it combines with water, it tends to turn into acid rain, sulfuric acid. And then, of course, that rain falls on crops and whatnot and kills them. It's definitely, I don't think it would be a big enough it's not a big enough volcano that it would actually um, cause acidity in the ocean to rise enough to affect sea life, but it could definitely affect everything east of Naples. Now, I know you're curious, like I am. What the hell is east of Naples? Well, that's Naples. So east would be oh my God, I need a bigger globe. Let's see. Directly east of Naples is Montenegro, Bulgaria, Greece, uh, Bosnia Herzegovina, uh, a lot of shit. Turkey, yeah, the Turks are in deep, deep shit. Georgia, the Southern Caucasus Mountains of Russia. Um, wow, pretty much kiss Armenia. The tiny bit that Turkey hasn't stolen from them, you can take that and combine it with Azerbaijan, which will also be on. Wow. When the ice age glaciers were possibly hurricane strength, basically always. Japan joining America to be the new state. No, I totally keep the globe as a joke because I know that the Earth is actually flat. The globe is fake. You mean not? That's not actually the Earth? Hold on. Fabacerno. Okay, look, Frappuccino. Um, I'm. Hello. He's right. This is fake. I can't hear me. Hey, fucker. Nothing. Well, shit, Frappuccino actually knows what's going on. I know. How is that? How is it I only attract like the smartest people on TikTok and then flat earthers? That's just crazy. And the flat earthers are awesome because they're absolutely sure uh, that JFK was actually shot by a Komodo dragon that was hiding in the sewer next to Dealey Plaza. The idea that it was 2 mile tall ice blocks would make things crazy. Huh? What things happen? Dude, I don't. Earthling, hey, you're not proving that you're an Earthling. Okay, not helping your case that you're an Earthling. Um, just to be clear, uh, just just the uh, just the Doomsday Glacier alone ranges between 3 and 13,000 feet thick right now, today. So yeah, there were some pretty thick glaciers at one point. Uh, and then land your finger plane. Okay, you guys have been drinking all fucking day, I can tell. All right, let's do this. Let's go see what happened today. I mean, silver up, and then believe in firmament. Oh God, one of those. Thou hast feared the Lord. Whatever. The War Within Part 2. U.S. launches. Oh my God. The U.S. launches self-defensive strikes near Hormuz, killing several Iranian personnel. U.S. Central Command continues to defend our forces while using restraint during the ongoing ceasefire. Wow. Well, at least now the Persians know what it feels like to play cowboys and Indians with us. Hey, man, we're not killing you much. Shut up. We're totally taking this peace agreement seriously. Here, hang on to my cruise. That's just nuts. Wow, Polymarket says no Iran peace deal by the 7th of June. I love when people refer to themselves as earthlings. You know, the ceasefire. Because they blocked the Strait of Hormuz, so we blocked their block. And by blocking their block, we opened the Straits of Hormuz, but not officially. They were laying mines. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, look, your dirt's on top of our oil. We're gonna have to do something about that. That's kind of our goal in the Middle East. By the way, Egypt has amassed 40,000 troops on the border of Israel. Anybody notice that? Did anybody? Bueller? Nobody noticed. Yep. So we've got an interesting situation there because the Egyptians, they have a long and rich history of wanting to kick the shit out of Israel, and the only reason that they haven't thus far was because of us, as usual. Because we keep signing these statements of understanding with them that we owe them money because, well, because we saved them from the Holocaust. That is what it smells like. We went into Europe and we saved millions of Jews from being slaughtered. And because of that, we have now had to pay them several $1 trillion over the course of the last 60 years. What? That's weird, right? Is it me? Does it seem weird? Because it's a very, very strange thing what's going on here. Oh my God. Mike Huckabee has turned out. Can you imagine? This guy ran for president. this pusillanimous turd, this soulless pretend Christian creature ran for President of the United States. At least the President of the United States now has the fucking gall to not touch a Bible with his bare hands. You know? He would absolutely not touch that Bible when he was sworn in. Okay. Well, you gotta give him some points for being honest. I don't want to touch that thing. This guy, Mike Huckabee, I've always said that the worst people in the world were the ones who used religion as a way to manipulate people and take advantage of them. Israel protects us from Arabs. That's really funny. That's the dumbest thing you've ever said out loud. Well, I mean, I don't know you that well, but it's got to be in the top 3 stupid things you've ever said. So Huckabee tells the Lebanese to thank Israel for seedless watermelons, number 1. Right, he's God-fearing man. No, he's not. He's truly not God-fearing man or Christian. He is truly a lying psychopath who will say or do anything necessary for money. And in a way, you have to respect that kind of sheer greed, that single-mindedness of, I will do whatever it takes to have money and power. And he's done it. He's the ambassador to Israel. We're about 77 and change on silver, which, by the way, if you want some, I have some at spot. Yeah, not for long, but at least for the next at least 24 hours. So numbers in the bio, call me, because right now everybody else spot plus 7 or 8 or 9 or 10, especially for buffaloes. So let's see. Wow, this is amazing. He also said that he said, I wonder if everyone in Lebanon understands that if there were no Israel, they wouldn't have a cell phone. Do you understand that Mike Huckabee is so fucking arrogant that he literally thinks if you're Lebanese, and believe me, there are hundreds of thousands, millions of Lebanese Christians. And what he's saying to them is, you're so fucking ignorant that you wouldn't have cell phones if it weren't for the Jewish supremacist state next door. If it weren't for the country next door providing for you troglodyte cave idiots, you wouldn't have a technology like cell phones. He literally told them that. Without Israel, you wouldn't have a cell phone. Well, I can tell you one thing, without Israel, they wouldn't have pagers. Oh, it is. It's definitely a colonizer mindset. Like, this guy literally doesn't think before he speaks. It's just amazing to me. It's funny. I found out that the people, the students who burned books, the famous author that said that, once you start to burn books, pretty soon people will be next. And when they burned books in Germany in the 30s, I wanted to know. Of course, Trump appointed him, the same president that put that fucking crazy lady, crazy, theoretically Christian. Literally, she's less Christian than Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm telling you right now, this woman is horrifying. And there are people out there who actually believe her to be a Christian. No, not Gabby. obviously she's totally legit. She was military for years before she became DNI, and then told the truth and got just absolutely ripped to shreds for it. No, his spiritual advisor, what's her name? Oh my God, she just like if she doesn't give you the creeps, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, who's Trump's spiritual advisor? Paula White. Yeah, Paula White King. My God, she is so disgusting. She is so unbelievably evil. And here's what I don't understand. I don't understand how somebody can watch her and not instantly have the hair on the back of their neck stand up and go, "Oh, fuck! I've seen this movie. This is called The Exorcist. But this woman is evil, evil to the core. She is literally using Christianity as a way to destroy Christianity. There's no other way to put it. I mean, the first time I saw anything about her, it was right after we launched this I'm going to hit you before you can even think about hitting me war. Yeah. She was up there at her podium just saying, and strike and strike and strike and strike. And I'm thinking, the hell is she saying? What is this? What does this mean? And she's talking about just killing and killing and killing and killing. What? Are you fucking kidding me? This is supposed to be a Christian? What exactly do people call Christianity nowadays? I mean, this is absolutely the most wretched, violent, inhuman piece of crap that I've ever seen. Never seen anybody act like that. That was Christian, screaming for the destruction of our enemies, and it's like, that's literally exactly the opposite of what Jesus taught. You take what Jesus taught, okay, and then find its opposite. That's her. And then speaking in tongues. Wow. Yeah, I sure am. I sure am. She's just, I mean, Paul White is, there's no way, that's the sad thing for me, is there's no way that I just can't understand how somebody could say that that's Christian. You know, how do you do that? Like what? Look, I get it. If there were a few hundred people around the country who all believed in her, great. Yeah, I totally get that. Thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who are willing to send her their life savings, in spite of the fact that she is clearly just joking. She's just joking. She's just kidding. You can't say that she's not. Kenneth Copeland. Wow. The only thing that I can think of, tell me if you guys think this is way off base or not, but the only thing that I can think of that makes sense is that when you are fundamentally a dishonest person, and I'm setting aside people who are just super low IQ, really unintelligent, Forrest Gump, simpletons who just see whatever and they believe it because of the passion. She really needs it to hear she's yelling. People like that, okay, gotta give them a pass. They're simple-minded and there's nothing they can do about it. However, there are a lot of people out there that aren't really unintelligent and they still go to these places and they still find themselves drawn to these people. And the only thing I can think of is that they are so dishonest fundamentally and disingenuous that they feel like somehow being around these people makes them normal. Like, yeah, I'm a liar and I'm dishonest and I can't be trusted, but neither can my pastor. Like, it's all of us are like that. I think everybody's like that. It's just the way the world is. And the only thing I can think of is hanging around with what I would call lower companions, including a Christian minister that is so completely devoid of any humanity, of any morals, ethics, integrity, that you actually feel normal because you are a scumbag like that. And scumbags tend to stick together, at least for moral support, because clearly they don't give it. They don't have it for themselves, but they want it from others. I can't imagine. I just don't. I don't understand it. I see somebody like her, and or that other guy. I can never remember his name. I think I do that on purpose. But I see them, and I think that it's just look at the Democrats. Oh Jesus, that's stupid. Yeah. Oh, Democrats are all the Southern fucking Republican hardcore MAGA. I'm a Christian liars. No, they have a completely different kind of bullshit lie that they live, but it's not the same. You can't blame Democrats for everything. And if you have any balls at all, you'll blame Democrats for what they do wrong and what they are, and stop blaming them for what you do. And believe me, if you're a Democrat, you don't follow Kenneth Copeland. Not a chance. Not a fucking chance. Why do you think he's in Texas? Why do you think he built this huge resort for all the tens of thousands of retired Christians? Oh, that's right. He never did. He took the money in for it, but he never built it. What he built instead was a game reserve for himself, and a huge airstrip for himself, and a huge 33,000 square foot mansion for himself. And now apparently he's got two $50 million aircraft. Democrats made it possible for me to have heart surgery. All right. Wait a minute. You're saying that Kenneth Copeland was not MAGA? Christian, not MAGA. Never Copeland. Well, I can guarantee you that Kenneth Copeland is not a Christian. There's absolutely zero chance. There's zero chance. Zero chance that Kenneth Copeland is a Christian. It is physically impossible. That's all. It's physically impossible. There's no way that Kenneth Copeland can be a Christian. There's no way that Paula White can be a Christian. Money what? Did you get money to the Holocaust survivors? Get money to them or from them? I don't know. Televangelist. unwavering support of Donald Trump. I care less. That's exactly right. Yeah, the bottom line is that when you look at somebody like Kenneth Copeland, it's I don't understand. I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. Now the thing is, the Pope. This Pope seems pretty pretty progressive, pretty mild mannered, like the last Pope. And it's interesting because I don't like the idea of the Pope sitting on a 10-foot solid gold throne. That's Antichrist, not Christ. And when I say Antichrist, everybody goes, oh, the devil. No, it's the exact opposite of Christ, which is you don't have absolutely insane amounts of excess wealth just laying around for a show. That is completely fucking impossible. It's everything that Christ spoke against. Now, do I think that Catholics are fake Christians because they worship idols? That's stupid. They don't worship idols. Look, respecting somebody because you think that they have taken that extra step to become a martyr for the good of Christ or whatever. The whole miracle thing's a little silly, but I get it's 2,000 years old, whatever. Miracles today are just science tomorrow. So I don't blame them for that. I don't, and I think that their steadfast reluctance to coddle Israel is fantastic. They wouldn't even recognize Israel for like 50 years. Wouldn't recognize it as a country at all. They were like, nope, we're not buying your bullshit, boys. Yeah, I think that the Pope, when the Pope says things like, "I don't think that Christ would be against anybody who loves somebody else." It's like, okay, you're talking about gay marriage, and the New Testament doesn't say anything about that. The Old Testament, the Jewish book, does, but we're not Jews, so where's that leave us? Well, it leaves us in this interesting situation where you have to figure out like what's good and what's bad. Well, now that's going to be an interesting one because now you got this fight on your hands. He is Christ on earth. Well, maybe in your opinion, but to say that any man is Christ is not a real good idea. I just think that that's going a little far. I mean, if Christ was without sin, et cetera, and you say, "Oh, this guy's Christ," really? You really think so, huh? Protesters used climate change as a hook, but their ultimate goal was always more nefarious. Huh. That's interesting. What are we talking about here? In 2024, climate activists protesting alongside anti-Israeli protesters. Climate justice means free Palestine. Well, that's convoluted shit. Now, Lindsey Graham, I got a funny feeling when he said he wanted to blow Israel, and then once they were on their knees, I think that was him having a little Freudian slip, Yeah, and it's funny because you see how truly like sissy, hard, like how hard he tries to act like a manly man, but just can't quite wrap his lips around it somehow. And I find it amusing because he's the angriest, most cynical, most genocidal troll in our entire government. Like he literally wants to just kill people all the time. I saw him laughing about how many Russians we've helped kill without having to put any boots on the ground. And hell, it's just a little part of our budget. Only spending a few $1 billion a month. Why not? We get to kill people. It's like, wait, aren't you from a southern state and didn't you lie and tell people you were a Christian? Mike Johnson's awesome. What a dork. Like, what an absolute idiot. Then, yeah, and, I wouldn't be surprised if he was gay. I mean, look at Tom Cotton. We got a picture of him in the most notorious gay bar in Washington, D.C. And, if you ask him, he'll tell you, no, I just went in there because I was doing P90X or whatever. It's like, what? Yeah, they're good men, all right. Uh-oh. Oh boy, I just got in trouble for bullying and harassment. See, that's the beautiful part about Israel owning this app now is that that's it, man. There are certain things you don't say, you can't do. Free speech. Nobody said free speech is free. No, that's not how it works. Yeah, I mean, if you want to go outside your backyard and yell, you can yell whatever you like. Free speech is fine. But if you're going to go on a billionaire Israeli Zionist app, then no, there's no free speech. You do what you're fucking told. You do what they tell you to do. And if you don't, well, that's it. We'll just take down your profile. It's like, oh, okay. So after 5 years, you're just going to shut me down because I disagreed with you. Yeah, that's exactly right. Who said that a company has to offer you free speech? They don't have to worry about your rights, do they? They can violate your rights. I mean, they violate your rights all the time. If you've got a cell phone, you got a Ring camera, Ring and sent. Whenever they thought somebody was drunk, they sent the footage to police so that police could then go arrest people retroactively for drunk driving. Oh yeah, look, you see, look, what's on your rear cam? We see you getting out of your car. We see you stumbling across the front lawn. You're clearly intoxicated. You're under arrest. How'd you get Ring footage? Well, little birdie. It's like, wait, how did we know I was intoxicated? Oh no, I know when you're saying BS, you're either saying that's not true, which of course you can go Google it and see it's true, or you're saying that it's a bullshit thing to do. And yeah, it is. It's a bullshit thing to do. But there have been lawsuits about it now. Because the thing is, what makes you think that you have a right to privacy? Look, you bought the Ring fucking camera, man. It's like you're the one who put the surveillance system on the front of your house. Well, you don't think you're going to use it? Your refrigerator can spy on you. Name it. Look, what people don't understand is the Internet of Things is real. How much intelligence does your refrigerator have? By itself? Not much. But what if I combine your refrigerator with your microwave, with your dishwasher, with your home security system, with everything else? I put all of those things together. Can we use that as some minor amount of computing power? You bet your ass I can. Well, what if I do that with every single home in your entire neighborhood? Well, now I've got a lot of computing power. I can do a lot of stuff. Okay, but what if I did that with every single smart device in Phoenix, Arizona? Well, I could crush your computer systems with a denial of service attack. A DDoS could destroy your website and take it down for days. What? Yeah, I can have my microwave and my TV and everything else calling your servers constantly and overwhelming them. It's like, what? Oh my God, this is hilarious. Oh, but I think about what it would be like if all of this went away. And, the thing is, it's going to, and I know that I don't, nobody's been able to show me a plan for rebuilding our electrical system globally or even nationally before it goes out. It's just, we're about, look, there are a lot of bad things about corporations, okay? Corporations are psychopathic by their nature. And the reason I say that is because they are devoid of conscience. When you have a huge group of people who come together to spend all day, every day, trying to accomplish something, in this case, to accomplish making money, to put together a group, this sort of organism whose only goal is to make money, and it only exists in this space. When you go home, the corporation doesn't come with you. When you make decisions at home, you're not making them with the corporation. The corporation is its own entity. Now, the people who own the corporation, the shareholders, they don't really have any specific moral compass. They don't have any specific desired morality goals. I'm going to invest in this company because I want to make the world better. That's not why people invest money. People invest money because they want to increase the amount of money they have. So what is it that you're putting money into? Whatever you need to make it grow. Okay, so we can agree that your number one concern is the growth of your capital. Yes. Okay. Then what about the guy who works on the line in the factory? Well, his number one concern is probably doing his job well enough that he keeps it. Maybe if he's a real go-getter, doing his job so well that he gets a promotion. But beyond that, is he concerned about how these products will eventually affect the world? He may not have ever even considered it, honestly. If it's a big company and he's just making one widget that goes into another widget that completes the other widget, he may not really even understand what he's doing. But this is his job and he's good at it. And well, if he keeps his job, he can pay his rent, which is astronomical nowadays. Okay. So my point is, who's in charge of worrying about the outcome? What outcome? Well, the outcome of your corporation for the world. You mean capital flow? No. What about the downside, the negative things that your corporation might do? Oh, those are liabilities. Well, no, I'm not talking about losing money. I'm talking about, like, I'll give you an example. If one of the byproducts from one of your processes is actually toxic, well, we look for the absolute cheapest way to dispose of them. Okay, what if the cheapest way is legal? Well, as the chief financial officer, I don't really know what goes on below me. I mean, if there's a guy somewhere in mid management who's making those decisions, we can assume he's probably trying to balance between what's best for the company, what's best for the environment. When at least I hope he would do that. Take that into consideration. And then if you went and talked to that guy in middle management, he'd say, "Well, my number one concern is that my bosses are happy with what I did." Oh, promoted at some point. Okay, all right. Well then, now we understand why things like DuPont, just come up with Teflon. Yeah, we invented Teflon. Did you realize that it's extremely, extremely toxic? Well, yeah, I mean, back in the 60s we did. Oh, what's do about it? We were making so much money, and nobody really wanted to step up and say anything, get fired. Oh, okay. Yeah, see now cigarettes are a little different. People have been smoking tobacco for thousands of years. Have people been putting uh, Teflon on their clothes and on the wrappers of their food and dumping the byproducts from Teflon directly out of a pipe into the Ohio River? No, no. Did they realize that Teflon was incredibly dangerous the first time they vented it out directly into the atmosphere in the form of steam? And what they thought was hail hitting the roof of the factory was in fact birds that had flown through the exhaust and died instantly. Hmm, that's interesting stuff. Rivers full of fluoride. Well, fluoride is very handy. Fluoride. Let's just see if the Google agrees with me on this. Before using it for teeth, was fluoride experimentally used as an antidepressant? It says no. Historically, fluoride's medicinal debut was for preventing tooth decay. In the early 1900s, researchers observed that people in Colorado Springs with naturally high fluoride levels in their water had fewer cavities, which eventually led to the intentional fluoridation of community water supplies starting in the 1940s. By the way, the introduction of fluoride was after a long-term study. Here's the problem with a long-term study. They never did it. They never finished their long-term study on the effects of fluoride on humans. They just quit because they said, you know what, this is so obviously good for you that there's no reason to stop. Now, here's an interesting one. Is fluoride an antidepressant? Different question entirely. Based on these studies, it has been suggested that fluoride may cause behavioral changes associated with anxiety and depression by altering serotonin levels and or affecting specific brain regions in response to exposure, the hippocampal excitation. Well, now, in that special Now I can tell you this. Well, we're going to find that out in a second, but I can tell you that the state of California, they proved in court that it does lower children's IQ. Fluoride lowers a child's IQ. Now, think about this for a second. Next time you ask yourself, how the hell did Donald Trump get elected? What is wrong with these fucking baby boomers? Well, it's really simple. It's called tetraethyl lead and fluoride. Tetraethyl lead affects people's brains dramatically, lowers their IQ, and lowers their ability to control their emotions. Period. Look around. There's a million studies that show that lead absolutely, unequivocally destroys your ability to mediate your own emotions, which is why violence spiked in the 60s and 70s, and then started coming back down in the 90s, because by the, I want to say, late 70s, early 80s, tetraethyl lead was illegal. So people stopped breathing it, stopped eating it as it settled on the food from exhausts, etc. So if you take fluoride, combine it with lead, and put it on everything and in your mouth, and you swallow it and all this other stuff, what you have is you have literally a 15 or 20 point drop in intelligence. That's absolutely insane. If the average IQ is 100 and the average IQ in the United States is 98, which is, that means that if you combine tetraethyl lead ingestion with fluoride, you could literally have a population running around that has an IQ of 80, which is fundamentally unemployable. These people would be unemployable. Well, that's the thing. Mercury that they say is in vaccines. That's not something I've done enough work on. But fluoride, I read several books about fluoridation. And tetraethyl lead, there have been many studies done on tetraethyl lead. And the fact that this guy who invented the idea of tetraethyl lead, put it in gasoline, made himself an enormous amount of money. He's probably killed more people than anyone else in history. He's responsible for hundreds of millions of deaths around the world during the 80 years or so that tetraethyl lead was put in gasoline, simply to make the valves quieter. You could use softer material to make the valves if you had the cushion of the lead particles in the exhaust. So as the exhaust fumes went out of the cylinder and the exhaust shut and the intake shut when it was coming in, it wouldn't clack. Wow. That's crazy. Did the Nazis experiment with fluoride on prisoners during World War II? It said no. The Nazis did not experiment with fluoride on prisoners during World War II. The claim that fluoride was used in concentration camps to make prisoners docile and submissive is a debunked conspiracy theory. Historical consensus and investigations by Holocaust historians confirm there is no evidence to support this assertion. Interesting. And we are the last advanced country that still fluoridates the water, by the way. Just, you know. And I am curious about something else. We don't fluoridate all the water. in the United States. There are some places that won't allow it. Mostly rich white neighborhoods don't allow it, but you'd be surprised how many how many people still drink fluoride, even though it says right on your toothpaste. Use a pea size of this, and by the way, if you swallow it, call the Poison Control Center immediately. Wait, it says on your toothpaste that it's poison? Yeah. Didn't read that? Probably didn't read your Apple disclosures either before you fucking said yes and walked out of the showroom with your phone. But that's the whole point. Nobody reads that shit. So, but it does say that because of the fluoride that's in your toothpaste, if you swallow even an amount the size of a pea, you should call poison control immediately. But it's safe and effective. It blows me away that the shit that we put in our body that and nobody even questions it anymore. It's just bananas. Let's see. How many countries have outlawed fluoridation of their water? Well, no country has outright banned it. However, the vast majority of the world does not do it. But I wonder why. I mean, does Norway fluoridate their water? No. Norway doesn't do it. Does Finland fluoridate their water? No. Finland doesn't do it. Huh. It's almost like these very, very advanced, small countries with extremely high education levels don't want to eat that shit. uh, well, when people say shit like it crystallizes your third eye, it's like, okay, yeah, I mean, shit, that's a tough one because yes, I know what a penile gland is, and I know that it's right here, and I know that your mind can do weird shit that you can't explain. I've done psychic shit that I can't explain. Nobody can explain. I don't know how the fuck I did it. Nobody else knows how I did it. I do it, and it's weird because it happens whenever I'm not thinking about it. Whenever I'm not worried about it, talk to somebody and all of a sudden I just get, ideas about them. Just these thoughts of, I wonder if, and I'll say, hey, by any chance, did you do this? Or is this something you're into? And they're like, yeah, how'd you know that? You from this place, wherever, and go, yeah, how do you know that? I have no idea. The salmon are contaminated in Norway, yes, but not as badly as they used to be. Now let's find something out here. What is the chemical used that makes Norwegian farm bred fish so dangerous? I made a mess of that one. Okay, now let's do that again. Toxins in farm fish. Ethoxyquin. Ethoxyquin is an extremely extremely dangerous thing. Ethoxyquin isn't actually what you might think. It was put on their food so that the food wouldn't be rancid. It was so that the fish food that they were fed wouldn't become rancid and spoil. However, it's extremely toxic. Okay, ethoxyquin. Let's see. Used as a food preservative in certain countries, originally to control scald on pears after harvest. It's used as a preservative in some pet foods to slow the development of rancidity of fats. Now let's see. Oh, of course, fucking Monsanto. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. I can't believe it's just so obvious. Of course, it's Monsanto. If it's not DuPont, it's Monsanto. I mean, come on, guys. If it's not Monsanto or DuPont, then it's got to be Procter and Gamble. Wow. Yep. Okay. Now, safety regulation, human food status. It is generally not approved for direct human consumption, with minor exceptions. Regulatory bans. The European Food Safety Authority suspended its authorization for use in animal feed in 2017, and it remains banned in the EU and the UK due to data gaps on toxicity. Now, just to be very clear, it was used on the food that was fed to farm-raised salmon, Norwegian farm-raised salmon. They would eat these ground-up eel parts over and over again. The salmon would, with this ethoxyquin all over it. And eventually the ethoxyquin would build up in their bodies to the point where it was really super dangerous to eat farm-raised salmon from Norway. And that lady who is a scientist who discovered how much ethoxyquin was in the salmon also figured out that it is one of the very, very, very few chemicals that when ingested will pass through the blood-brain barrier. And ethoxyquin will actually end up in your brain. And it is extremely toxic. She went to the Norwegian government, who said, no, it's fine. It's fine. Absolutely not a problem. You go ahead and use it. Then she found out that the woman who was in charge of food safety specifically owned a bunch of salmon farms. Once that came to light, of course, the Norwegian people were pissed, and the law got changed almost overnight. Now it's illegal to put ethoxyquin on anything you feed to animals because it builds up in their bodies. It is perfectly legal in the United States, and all farm-raised salmon from the United States can have ethoxyquin sprayed all over their food, even though it has been shown to be highly toxic to human beings. When you divide a country into a bunch of different tribes, left, the right, black, white, rich, poor, when you do that, and you keep them fighting all the time, they don't notice shit like this. Now, how the fuck did I know this? I watched a documentary years ago about the most dangerous food on earth, Norwegian salmon. And it was, the name of the documentary was The Most Toxic Food on Earth. And I was like, well, what the hell's that? So I watched the documentary. When I found out that it was Norwegian salmon, I was like, what? I eat that shit all the time, constantly. It's my favorite fucking food. Explains a lot about me. But, you know, in all seriousness, I'm feeding that to my kids. So you're deliberately allowing me to poison my children? Matt, now you're talking about getting me very, very angry. And you would not like me when I'm angry. Yeah, tuna has high levels of mercury, but you know, I mean, what's high? You know, I knew a guy who was a weightlifter, and he ate 6, 7 cans of tuna every day for years. I mean, he's dead now, and he died when he was 40 years old because of mercury poisoning, among other. It wasn't specifically mercury poisoning; it was all of the things that happened because of the mercury poisoning. So, yes. Now, a can of tuna a day, I don't know if that would kill you. I don't know what the health effects would be. He ate, 5 or 6 cans a day. He was, he was like one of these guys. We didn't know back then either. Nobody knew how bad tuna was. So at the time, it's like if you were a real man, you lift your ass off, you go in, you get one of the big cans of tuna, you put some mustard or whatever on there to make it edible. You fucking power that down. Food's not for fun; it's for fuel. And that was our attitude. So that's your post workout protein shake. Not a chance. Well, now obviously it's a little different, but again, all of these concerns, all of these things that we talk about, they all come down to one thing, and that is corporations. Corporations have more power than human beings. That's it. Raw eggs. Yeah, buy some chickens, man. Now here's one interesting one. The truth about ethoxyquin in dog food. And it's done by IAMS. I'm sure that this corporation wouldn't lie to me. Uh-huh. Oh, I see. Hey, ethoxyquin remains stable at high temperatures required to process dog foods during extrusion. It's important in protecting fat and oil from degrading, losing available calories, and becoming rancid. So, hey, look, it's okay. Despite the fact that all the studies conducted to date prove ethoxyquin is safe for the use in animal foods, when used at approved levels, rumors continue to circulate to the contrary. Huh. Well, son of a gun, there are studies to the contrary? Well, they wouldn't be independent studies, would they? Ethoxyquin banned in Europe. Why would the Europeans ban it? Good for you. By the way, ethoxyquin wasn't normally supposed to be for food. It was actually a pesticide, but it didn't work very well as a pesticide. So, of course, Monsanto decided, well, fuck, if we can't use it for that, let's use it for something else. What else could we use it for? We came up with a chemical. Let's use it. Let's see. Yes, ethoxyquin is completely banned in the European Union, formerly used as a synthetic antioxidant in animal feed, especially fish meal. Oh, and as a pesticide, its use was the let's see, definitively prohibited. Why it was banned? Let's see. The safety could not be established. There were specific concerns, including its metabolites, toxicity, and potential mutagenic impurities. Fuck, I love that. Some big words. Yep. Well, now, high heat with plastics. Come on, man. Common sense. Put your food on petroleum, heat it up, eat the food. Hello, McFly. Got a cutting board? Is it some kind of plastic cutting board? Because if it is, you're chopping up little pieces of plastic right into your food. I know it's a pain in the ass to have one that's wood or stone. Yep. Think about this. You know how much longer does it take to heat something up in a pan? Maybe 5 minutes. Okay, so it takes 5 minutes to warm it up instead of 1 minute. So do that. Well, then you got to wash the pan. It's like, okay, you know, you don't have to. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of common sense. One of two things is true. Either A, you just don't care and you just go for it. Just go for it. Eat whatever you want, drink whatever you want, and just don't even sweat it. Or you can join those of us who already know, and once you know, you can't unknow. Wall Street still believes the system is stable. The S&P 500 continues hovering near highs. Passive inflow supporting. Oh, by the way, this new guy, he needs to raise rates, but he can't. He can't raise rates. We don't see. The problem is when you raise rates. First of all, most people don't even know what it means when you raise rates. Okay, I'm going to raise rates. Okay, what does that mean? Well, that means that I'm going to raise the amount of money that I have to pay on bonds. Okay, all right. So, what does that mean exactly? Well, that means that I'll give you an example. If you want, how do we explain this? The easiest way. If, like right now, bonds are at 5%. The reason they're at 5% is because nobody wants them. If we buy those bonds ourselves, which has been done in the past, that is not considered a healthy economy. If we try to get somebody else to buy them, for instance, BlackRock or somebody along those lines, because that's, people think that BlackRock has trillions and trillions of dollars. They don't. They manage trillions and trillions of dollars, your dollars. So it's actually your money. And they just manage to get their greasy little hands on it. But it's your money. And so in this scenario, if they want to raise rates to slow everything down so that they can fight inflation, that's going to be very hard to do. If they want to lower rates, which is what Trump is telling them to do, if they want to do that, then they are going to have massive inflation. We're already locked into massive inflation as it is. There's no question. Like we're going to have 10, 12, maybe even 13% inflation by 2028. Like we're going up and we're going to keep going. This is not one of those where it's like, oh, it's a blip. You remember after COVID, there's not going to be any inflation. Remember them saying that? No inflation. And then they said, well, there might be a little bit. 5% of your extra money. There is no extra money. And by the way, Debbie, 100%. There's nothing else out there that's safe right now. Could the market go up? If the Fed plays their cards right, the market could really explode for the next year. And then, God help everyone. Or, if they don't play their cards right, the market literally starts to go bananas this week. Foreclosures are, well, let's take a look at that, because I know that credit cards, 90-day late on credit cards is the highest it's ever been. So delinquency on credit cards is outrageous right now. What is the delinquency rate on mortgages? Oh shit. Okay, hold on. What is the delinquency rate on mortgages as a percentage right now? Better. Okay. The national mortgage delinquency rate sits at between 2 and 4.25. 4.25, that's starting to get really high. Let's see. Delinquency on single-family residential mortgages, according to the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, Fed. All right, babe. Give me the good stuff. Okay, in 2008, it hit 11.5%. Wow, mama, that hurts. But it started at, like, the crisis really started by 2007. Now, at one point, in 2004, it was only 1%, okay? By 2007, it was 2%. Right now, they're saying 2%. I'm not sure I buy that. Who's saying that it's 4.26? That's what I want to know. Wait a minute. The way that they word things is extremely specific. Extremely specific. Delinquency rate on single-family residential mortgages booked in domestic offices, all commercial banks. All right. Delinquency rate on credit cards. Okay. Delinquency rate on all commercial loans. Let's see. Credit card loans. All right, let's take a look at this one. Oh, wow. Hit 6% second quarter 2009. In 2008, it was 4%. That's when the shit really hit the fan. And right now it is 3%. Okay, so it's the lowest it's been in many, many years. It dropped down in 2021. It was down to 1.5%. 30%. That was the delinquency rate, was 1.5%. And now it's doubled, which is obviously not good. Let's see. Delinquency rate on credit card loans, banks. What the hell is this? Delinquency rate on credit card loans, banks not among the 100 largest in size by assets. So this is going to be interesting because back in 08, it hit 5.6%. Right now, it's at 6.4%. It's higher than it was back then, much higher. Interesting. All right, let's see. Let's see car loans. The interesting thing about Fred, the interesting thing about the Federal Reserve is they don't lie to you under any circumstances. They are extremely, extremely honest. They're also very, very careful about the information they give out, how they do it. The reason I say that is because if you don't put it to them correctly, they will not show you the right graph. And they have literally hundreds of thousands of graphs. Automobile direct loans, delinquency 30 days and over. Okay. Yeah, this is typical. This is typical right here. They're showing the graph between 1947 and 1965. Well, thanks, boy. That really doesn't do a goddamn thing for me. Consumer loans. All right, consumer loans on cars. Ooh. Are you shitting me? Wow, $516 billion. There's $516 billion in outstanding car loans right now. All right, let's oof. It's very strange that they don't have this. Average amount financed for new car loans. Wow. The average amount financed, this is after your down payment, the average amount financed is almost $42,000 now. Well, I'll bet you like your paid for car. Probably feels even better now that you see this, huh? Amount financed for used car loans. Now, Huh. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna have to do this then. I will go to what's the delinquency rate on consumer loans? Huh. Okay. Doubled in the last few years. See, that's a funny thing. Everything's great. Nothing to see here, folks. Yeah, it really depends on how you look at it. Yeah, we've all been taught that debt is the way to go. You know, if you're not in debt, well, you're not trying. How many people are more than 90 days late on their car loans? Over 7 million people right now are more than 90 days. That's the highest point since the Great Recession. Now, here's the key. Here it is. I'm going to find it because this is really where it's interesting. Subprime strains. Borrowers with lower credit scores are defaulting at rates not seen in over 3 decades. The rate of 60 plus day late payments in subprime sector recently peaked at 6.6%. Now, the reason that's important is because when you're over 90, they're coming to get your car. If you're over 60, you're ready to give up on your car. Well, Matthew, there's never a good time to be a repo man. First of all, never a good time to make a living by going out and helping the wealthiest, most powerful banks in the world take something away from poor people. Even if it's legally the right thing to do, it's just a sucky job. What percentage of credit card payments are 90 days late? Let's see. You're fucking kidding me. What? Over 13%? What? Over 13% are seriously delinquent, meaning they are 90 days or more past due. We are literally coming up on the 2008 financial crisis peak, which was also 13%. Man, this is, you got to understand, guys. Credit cards are about 1.9, between 1.4 and 1.9 billion dollars, trillion dollars, excuse me. Hold on, let me see. I'll tell you exactly what it is as of right now. Credit card debt, $1.3 trillion. 1,332 billion. Yeah, that's $8,500 per card holder. Wow. Okay, guys. Well, this is going to get very, very interesting. Let's go ahead and look at before I wrap up. I'm going to look at we got 1.3 trillion in credit card debt. What percentage of mortgages in the United States are over 60 days late? This is the biggest number of all. Okay, so we've got mortgage delinquencies increase in the fourth quarter of 2025. Well, we knew that. 30 days late is 2%. 60 days late is just under 1%. 90 days late is 1.27%. Wow. This is not, that's not good. Okay, so total number of homes in the United States at risk of delinquency. So we got 1.5 million residential mortgages that are delinquent or coming up for foreclosure. Where are mortgage delinquencies rising the most? That's interesting. Okay. Aggregate household debt balances rose by 191 billion to reach $18.8 trillion. That's household debt. That's not the debt the United States government owes. Wow. Mortgage balances grew by 98 billion to 13.2 trillion, while credit card debt increased by 44 billion to 1.28 trillion. And as you saw, this is in February. It went from 1.28 to 1.33 trillion. So credit card balances are going up as well as delinquencies. This is all very interesting stuff, but here's the bottom line. You have to have something of value. You cannot hold on to this. This is absolutely certain to absolutely disappear in value. There's no way around the fact that this will be worth 50 cents in a few years. So think about it. And I'm not joking. Okay, a couple quarters. In a few years, it'll be worth 1 quarter. This will be worth 2 quarters. That's the way the government has designed our entire system. It's not an accident. It wasn't done because of apathy. They did this on purpose. This is the way they want the system. This is the way that they get to skim just a few percent off the top when they're skimming a few percent off the top. And the way that they do that, by the way, is they borrow enormous amounts of money and they wait for the inflation to devalue the currency and then they pay it back. Wait a minute. So I borrow $100 million. When do I pay it back? Time it's worth 50. So wait a minute. Does that mean that if I buy a like an asset with the money now, yeah, you borrow 100 million, you buy an asset, the money that you owe is becoming worthless, but simultaneously your asset is going up. Oh, so what do I do? Well, you can borrow again on your asset that you paid 100 billion for, but or 100 million, but now your $100 million asset is worth $1 billion. It's gone up by 10 times. And then I just pay off 100 million with another, yeah, refinance. Wow. So simple. Yeah, it fucking is. It's so simple. So go do it. That's the point. Nobody says that you're not allowed to do this. Nobody says that it's illegal. It's not illegal. It's perfectly legal. Now, do you have to like really squeeze to get enough money to get those initial resources? Yes. Yes, you do. Or you're rich daddy, whatever. Bottom line is, now is the time to get rid of shitty assets, worthless assets, assets that are going to go down in value, paper money, and get into something that will go up in value. Now, will the stock market go up in value? It could, yeah. It's at an all-time high, and it could absolutely tank at any moment. At any moment, it could tank. The economy that's underlying our stock market is shit. Well, doesn't that eventually affect the price of the stocks? Eventually, yes. Lower rates, that shit takes off again. So how do you time the market? Bulls make money. Bears make money. Pigs get slaughtered. That's it. If you're not in the market, now it's really probably not a very good time to be in the market. If you are in the market, now's a good time to say, you know what, it's been a really good run. Everything's at an all-time high. Nobody thinks the market's going to drop. I think I'm going to step out. Now, maybe I missed the top by this much. But I got to tell you, if you go over the other direction and it drops by 3%, the market's down 3%. It does that all the time. It's down 7%. Yeah, everybody's talking about how this is good for the market consolidation. Get all the speculators out. Okay, now it's down 14%. Well, shit, I'm not selling. No, man, it just wiped out a year's profit. I'm hanging on. That's the way it works every fucking time. When it's down 70%, that's when people finally give up and sell. And that's when it starts to go back up. When everybody finally says, fuck it, and gives up, that's when it goes up. The thing that people don't understand about the market is if you're good, really good at investing, nobody wants you at their party. You're not going to be invited to anybody's party because you don't think like everybody else. And I don't mean, oh, look at you, you're outside the box, aren't you, authentic? No. You're a pain in the fucking ass that nobody likes. You're the one that's always contrarian, always arguing with people. Nobody likes you, but you get rich. Well, that's just the way it is. Now, here's the good news. You get rich. You get to be that person who said, you know what? I just don't see this anymore. It doesn't fundamentally make sense anymore. And that's it. You're out. Now, what do you do in the meantime? Well, if inflation's going to do what I think it's going to do, then obviously you buy these, which I sell. You buy these, and the reason that you do is because then when this is only worth 25 cents, this won't be worth 80 bucks anymore. It'll be worth 180 bucks. Now, has silver matched inflation over the last quarter of a century? No, it has not. It has gone up. This has gone up by 1,620% in the last 26 years. 1,620%. So now you go jump into the S&P 500 index if you like. Go for it. God help you. Because literally that index is being held up by 7 stocks. There are 7 stocks that, because it's weighted by the amount of money that these corporations have, 7 stocks are literally holding up the entire S&P 500. No, thank you. NASDAQ, bye-bye, baby. If AI turns out to be the bullshit I think it's turning out to be, man, it's going to be a fucking slaughterhouse. An absolute slaughterhouse. You're going to see these things lose 60, 70% of their value, which is great. That's fantastic. I'm going to make a fucking fortune on that. And then when they start to go back up again, once they finally bottomed out and everybody's out of the market, I'll get back in again. But in the meantime, this will go and double and triple and quadruple while I'm waiting to see what happens with the market and while the market's falling, because people don't have any place to go. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? Well, I'm going to get out of the stock market. Okay, what are you going to do? I'm going to buy oh shit, no, I can't buy real estate. That's a huge bubble. Okay, well, what else you got? What else is there? So what happens when the entire crazy ass crowd starts to run towards precious metals? Could silver triple? Yeah. Silver could actually triple in value. Well, that would make it like 12, 13 grand. Yep. Well, then what would that make silver? That would make silver $500, $600. Well, shit, if it's at 80 now and it goes to 600, that's better than triple, which is what we expect gold to do. No matter how much gold goes up, silver's going to go up much more and faster. So it's very simple. Yeah, it's just there's a lot of room to move. So, call me tomorrow and get some silver. I've got I think 90 ounces that I can let you guys have a spot. By the way, I also have not a lot of them, not enough of them, I wish. But I also have Morgan silver dollars, which are really cool. Because even though they're not pure silver, I don't think gold's in a bubble at all. I think that the government has a statutory value of gold at $42.22 right now, which is absolutely idiotic. That's what your government values gold at by the ounce. And then we got peace dollars. I have some of those as well. Not as many as I'd like, but a few. So give me a call, and let's get you guys into some silver. Let's get you into something that'll make you money safely. Why not? Making money safely. What a concept, right? What a crazy idea. All right, guys. I will see you tomorrow. Happy Memorial Day.